And we're back again. The champ and still, my man, Mr. Vucenic. How you doing, my friend?
Very good, very good.
It's funny being back here again, as to say. There's been a lot going on. And training-wise, levels have been stepping up. I mean, obviously, we knew the result was going to happen as it was, but savouring that all was just incredible. I mean, has it sunk in yet?
Nah, I'm still on top of the world. I just knew what was going to come, and I knew everything that was going to follow. And yeah, it's just crazy now. It has all come to fruition, and yeah, crazy.
When you got the call about Paul Hughes, what was the initial reaction?
Of course, a little bit disappointed, but at the same time, I was just ready to accept the fight with anybody. I sort of said to the man on the phone, look, I'll fight anybody. And he said, no, don't worry, we've already got a match anyway. I knew you'd say that, so it was all good.
But initially with you and Paul, obviously, you had like this kind of friendly rivalry back and forth.
Yeah.
Is there a bit of you that's like, wants to finish that off, or is it just...
Of course there's a bit of me that wants to finish off, but I don't think that's going to be in the near future. I think that's going to be in the distant future, because I need to get that back on my record. But I think this was his chance, and he fucked it.
Well, this is the real point to go back to. He's asking for a rematch because he lost. It's not your judges, they're independent judges. Mm-hmm. You won the fight.
Yeah, this is not boxing. It's not corrupt. Do you know what I mean? They're not paid off judges. You know what I mean? If I was using my wages to pay the judges, I mean, I don't think they would take that.
So was the rest of it. But again, we're not going to get too political on that side of things. Might get, you know, let's get axed. Ian Dean comes back with a vengeance. But we'll see what happens with that. So when it comes to UFC, obviously the eyes are on that prize.
Yeah.
Any names in mind? Obviously, we're thinking about UFC London, maybe potential pullouts, but obviously that's been and gone now. Is anything initially in the crosshairs?
No names spring to mind of who I would fight next, and no dates or anything come up. I'm just ready to go whenever. I mean, I think the biggest change from this podcast to the last is around about the same sort of time frame since the fights that we've done this podcast, and I was a fat cunt on the last one. And part of that's because you had a 5-round war, so you sort of think, I deserve it, I'm going to eat those, blah, 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 and it's a big thing fulfilled. But, I mean, you can just see now this time that I'm on it. I'm straight back on the diet, and I'm straight back in the gym. I believe I'm the best in the world, and I want to go out and show everyone.
It's funny, though. You're 25 minutes and stuff your face. You have 7 minutes, you starve yourself again. But no, it's definitely a different Jordan at this stage anyway. I mean, when you had that last fight, it was almost different energy. It was almost like the pacing was different, whereas this one wasn't like blowing your load, going crazy, trying to get it done early, but it wasn't... I think you wanted that finish that bit more to make a point. Was there any different kind of intention going in?
Yeah, there was bad intentions. No matter who I was fighting, there was bad intentions. I was going to finish whoever I was fighting. You could have put anybody in the world in front of me and they were getting finished. And, you know, the first time doing 5 minutes against Sharia, so I maybe pace myself, but I really do believe I've got one of the best cardios in MMA, in sport in general, not just MMA. So I was just ready to push 5 minutes at a horrendous pace, and I was ready to drown whoever.
I mean, this is something that's really opened up watching you train again, the glimpse I've had in certain sessions you've had. And it's just sharpening up those basics, because when it comes to the highest of high level, you'd expect all the new bells and whistles, the fancy new things here and there, but you've been ironing out the basics. What's made you really address that?
Just basics win fights. I can do all the fancy stuff, I can do all the crazy stuff, but I just really wanted to hone in the basics. I mean, I went back to almost doing just the jab and the 1-2 again for a good 6 months when I broke my thumb. Just, they're the things you fall back on, they're your sort of go-to, so I just want to make them be untouchable.
I mean, there's so much in that. I mean, you're going to get the backflip sorted yet?
I can do a backflip now, so, you know, just the little things in life.
So a bit of context to that. Out of nowhere, Jordan's finished whatever second or third session of the day, mid-camp, and he's like, do you know what? I can do a backflip. There he is, most important fight of his career. A couple of weeks away, I can do a backflip. It's like,
and okay. I've done a backflip.
You did a backflip.
I did it.
It's like, God, I can see a career in front of me. This could be any which way. This could be the next Justin the Gage like highlight reel sort of celebration.
Exactly. Like I said, even then, I know the knockouts and subs are going to start rolling in, so I might as well get these backflips ready to go.
Celebrations locked and loaded.
That's it.
But regards of where you are now and your career progressing, obviously the confidence, the belief's always been there. Is there a part of you that's even a little bit like, is this real yet?
No, there's not. And if you would have said to the young 17-year-old, you'll be in the UFC when you're 26, I'd have said, I know. because I always said that. I started MMA late, so I always give myself, I said 26, I'll sign to the UFC. I've just turned 26 and I'm about to sign to the UFC. And I always knew it was going to happen. And I know what I'm going to do when I get into the UFC. So now I've got to wait to get in and show everybody what I already know.
So the nature of when you start off successful, obviously everyone's going to think UFC straight away. And there were conversations about potentially going to the UFC earlier on, depending on, situation, everything else. If you went in the UFC, say, before the Hughes fight, do you think that would have been best for your career?
No, I don't think so. No, like, number one, I don't think I would have been matured enough then. I mean, 24 years old. I mean, still now I'm not the full potential I can be as a man. I've still got my prime to come. But I think I've changed definitely a lot since then. It's been 2 years, 26 now, and technically I've just got a silly amount better. I think breaking my thumb was one of the best things that could happen to me because it gave me a year to just sit back and improve on everything that needed improved on. I didn't have to worry about cutting weight. I didn't have to worry about who I was fighting. I could just focus on myself for a good solid year. And I think I'm at a better point in all aspects of my life, ready for the UFC. And I think everything happens for a reason. And I think breaking my thumb and I think Hughes pulling out, it all happened for a reason, and it was all setting me up to give me the best chance at this UFC hunt.
There's a lot of things I really admire about the way you've been training, the way you've developed. And one thing is the enjoyment in training. Like, outside of the serious sessions, you have a laugh, you have fun in training. And to think about the level you're at, the weight of the world on your shoulders, everything else, you have fun. Like, how do you retain that kind of composure and enjoyment whilst, you've got everything, I don't know, building up?
For some guys, it's a chore training, and fighting to them is such a big thing that, the whole world stops just for the fight, and you can see it in the moment, in the warm-up room, and when they're in there, they're so tense and they're so nervous. Whereas for me, I honestly do love it. If you said to me, you're going to fight tomorrow, I wouldn't be like, oh shit, I'm not ready. I'd be like, yes, I get to fight tomorrow. I've always just loved it. So and I just know the better I am in training, the more I'm having fun in training, and the more I am training, the better I'm going to be in there, which means I'm going to enjoy it even more. The most enjoyable thing about a fight is a one-sided fight, so I'm trying to make them all one-sided.
So what is it about fighting you think resonates with you?
I don't know. I mean, just always growing up, I've never had sort of a father figure, or I've had a big brother, but I mean, he weren't like a big brother. I was like the big brother, so I always was looking after myself sort of thing. So just always getting into fights, and yeah, like I said, always looking after myself. So it's just transferred over into the MMA. I mean, I'm just ready to go with anybody. I mean, if someone coming into the podcast studio right now and started on me for parking my car in their space, I'd be ready to go. I wouldn't back down from anybody, and I think I've just always been like that. So same thing when guys try to get in my face at weigh-ins and try to get in my head, it does not bother me. I'm just, all right, okay. If anything, I'm like, I want to hurt you more. It's just as simple as that.
But this is something else where it comes to that kind of the actual enjoyment of it and flowing with it, and this is what that flow state you see when you have these fights. And it's that medium where you're intense in the fight but composed in yourself, and that balance. But it's almost like you're creative when you're there, you're flowing with it all. When you're in that state, do you find yourself in that in training at all? Do you think it's the same energy? Do you think it's very unique to the occasion?
I think a lot of guys, when they fight, go into autopilot mode and they just sort of fall back on their techniques that they've drilled in, and rightly so. But I think I'm always present in a fight, so that's why I can do the crazy spinning stuff, the crazy jumping knees, and because I'm present in the moment and I'm thinking, I might get a highlight reel knockout here. That's how I'm thinking in a fight. And I'm so critical of myself when I'm in fights. Like, if I slip a punch and it skims me in my head, I'm like, fuck's sake, that's just hit me. And I'm overcritical with myself when I'm in there. And when I watch it back, I think, that didn't even hit me. But in there, to me, it's a big shot. So I just want to put out flawless performances. I want them to be perfect. When I look back at the fight, I literally want to watch myself and be like, yeah, that was sick. I don't want to watch myself and be like, fuck's sake, that was shit. I want to watch myself back and think, yeah, I look the part. I look fluent when I'm moving. I just want to look back and say I'm the fucking man, and that's my goal.
I think the pursuit of perfection is always interesting because the goalposts keep moving.
Yeah.
Like, what you would have expected at your highest standard is nowhere near your lowest standard now, and it just keeps on evolving. With other areas of your game, like your jiu-jitsu, for example, again, congrats again on the brown belt. Like, do you think you're gonna like spend more time in those other areas? Maybe pursue more, I don't know, wrestling?
I just think it's going to just be what I'm doing now, just chasing everything. I'm not trying to focus on one particular area to get better. Just getting it all better at the same time. I think that's what martial arts is, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be the best grappler, wrestler, striker I can be. I'm not going to focus on any particular area unless they need addressing. And until that moment, I mean, if I go back to the gym and the coaches say to me, right, we really need to work this. Okay, let's work that then. If you think that's my area I'm not the best at, let's work that area. But to me, I'm just wanting to improve everything. Like I said, I said this years and years ago, it'll be on interviews that will come out in years' time, and I'll be famous for it. I want to be the best everywhere. I don't want you to look at me and say, this is how you beat Jordan. I want you to look at me, if you're going to fight me, and say, fuck, he's good everywhere. We need to be good everywhere for this guy. Coming forward, going backwards, standing up, on the ground, offensive, defensive. I really just want to be the best everywhere.
There's a lot in that, and to sort of even scratch the surface of it. I mean, prime example, coming into Cage Warriors, you're there in the tie shorts, pulling them up a little bit, and the first thing you do is go for a takedown. And that is you in a nutshell. Again, there's the well-rounded sort of arsenal, and with the Hendin submission finish is just that icing on the cake and just letting people know what's up.
Yeah.
And there's so much in this. And one thing I want to get into is the attitude throughout training, throughout your career so far. And this seems like it's been very learned, not just like a natural to be this well-rounded, is it? Some mistakes you made early on, you feel we've brought this out of you?
I think in the beginning, I always wanted to be this crazy striker. And I just fell in love with grappling and striking, and I just love the element of surprise when people come to me for training and they say, fucking hell, you're well better grappler than I thought you were. You're probably a better grappler. This is the common consensus I get when I train with people. The guys that are good strikers say to me, fucking hell, your grappling's amazing. And the guys that are grapplers say, fucking hell, your striking's amazing, blah, blah, blah. I think that's just how I'm always wanting to be. Like I said, I just want to be the best everywhere. And I believe I'm going to be. I mean, like I said, I believe my grappling's better than my striking. But that doesn't mean that I'm happy with where I am in grappling. I want my grappling to... I want to look back at my grappling in a year's time and be like, I was shit at grappling then. And so on and so forth, striking and everything.
Let's just keep on improving and everything
just keep
else.
Going.
But this is something else. When you're, say, sparring with other gyms, you're going to these visits and everything else. If you know someone's a specialist there in a certain area, for example, do you try and go into their world and see what happens to you?
Yeah, you're a grappler, let's grapple. That's just how it's going to be. I mean, a lot of the time when guys come from other gyms and they're meant to be this slick grappler, I'll ping them up on the feet and let them know what's what on the feet. And then I'm going to take you down and I'm going to beat you on the ground as well. I'm just going to have you think, fuck's sake, this guy's going to beat me everywhere. Because at the same time, you know, if you're a grappler and I just defended all your takedowns and punched your head off, you'd be like, yeah, he's a good striker. I couldn't get him down to test it. So let's test it. Let's go to the ground. Let's test how good of a grappler you really are. And 9 times out of 10, I'm a better grappler than you. Simple as that.
But this is also MMA grappling as well. This is where I think you excel that bit further.
Yeah.
Because obviously normal pure grappling is one thing, but being able to do it under that pressure, set things up, it's a different world.
Yeah.
And this is something that you've been able to excel further and further in. And just throughout your career in general, I mean, where do you feel you've made the biggest improvements in like the shortest amount of time?
It's got to be in my grappling. It's got to be. It's. I mean, when I started the sport, I was smaller, so I was always on my back. And as I've got older, bigger and stronger, now it's me pressing the guys. And I really do feel like I'm very, very well-rounded grappling, whether that be to hunt for a submission, whether that be to just stay on top and control you, whether that if I get swept and I'm on my back, submitting you or sweeping you straight back. I really do think that the grappling area is where I've got the biggest knowledge, but at the same time, I know I'm nowhere near complete. I feel like I could jump into these grappling super fights at the minute. I mean, I had sort of one when I was only a blue belt with Ed Arthur, who was a world champion MMA, and I danced him in about 40 seconds. So, like I said before the Cage Warriors fight as well, everyone's sleeping on me, but they're not going to be sleeping anymore.
I mean, again, there's so many instances of this where grappling competitions and just having some fun with it. And this is where that, I don't know, the open attitude, you come back, you're like, okay, I need to do this, need to work on that. You're again, the odd little YouTube binge. I would try this one out, just having some fun with it.
Yeah.
And there's so much to go into. But when it comes to this transition from Cage Warriors to UFC, where do you feel was the biggest difference in watching it from the outside in, from watching Cage Warriors versus watching your standard UFC featherweights?
I think the biggest difference between Cage Warriors and your entry, not the top of the UFC, but your entry level UFC is, or even mid-range UFC. The difference is Cage Warriors are the best up-and-comers who are hungry. UFC are the guys that are there and not very hungry anymore. And I think that's the difference. I think when I get to the UFC, I'm going to starch the people. The first 4 or 5 fights, I really do think I'm going to tear them a new arsehole. I think that's how it's going to be. I think the Cage Warriors fights are going to look harder than the UFC fights are going to look. And again, that's because my style, the way I'm coming now is different from how I was with the Cage Warriors ones. But I believe that with the Cage Warriors ones, they're ready to sort of go to the end. Whereas I think a UFC guys, you know, they've had the fights, they've been paid. I'm the up and comer now. Oh, I'll just let him have it. I was a good shot. That will do me. You know what I mean? That's what I think is going to happen with the UFC initially. And if not, I'm ready for 3 rounds of war. I mean, look, I've been doing 5 rounds, so 3 rounds is going to be a piece of piss for me.
And where, to expand further on this, like from a technical point of view, again, you get a lot of more Americans, obviously. Cage Warriors is mainly a European promotion.
Yeah.
And that sort of initial wrestling base sort of thing. Do you feel that's almost a dated thing to worry about, or do you think it's still definitely a threat for you?
Still definitely a threat because they're going to have that strong wrestling pedigree, but I've got heavy hips, and if you do get me to the ground, I'm going to elbow your head off and I'm going to hunt for the submission. I mean, like I said, I can push a horrendous pace. So yeah, take me down, but trying to keep me down is going to be a different story because I will not stop for 1 second, either until I'm in a good position where I'm on top or if I'm back up to the feet. It literally, I'll be like a bar of soap. The harder you try to hold on to me, the more I'm going to slip away from you.
Yeah, I feel that, chills. But again, there's so much to that, and this is something that's not just been lines prepared. It's something that you've trained, you've drilled, you've experienced. You've got the t-shirt and everything else in between.
Prison soap.
Prison soap.
You don't want to let go of that prison soap and drop it. Pick it up, boy.
What happens in no-gi stays in no-gi. We all know the rules. No eye contact. Okay, I lost my train of thought, but we'll keep going. We'll keep moving. But this is kind of what I mean. This is the side people don't see about you. Because when it comes to interviews and things like that, again, very serious, the epidemic. But you've got banter.
Yeah.
It comes out of nowhere every now and then. It's having some fun with it. Yeah. And it's good. Like when you come to other gyms and you've got this atmosphere, like say ASW Manchester, for example, like Cam there, he's just very welcoming, and those environments, I think do really well. Obviously, BST, the home, is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But being able to travel and be able to experience these other environments, like where do you feel I don't know, externally, where's been a good experience for you?
I think all the gyms I've been to, I think especially ASW, because number one, they're just a high level bunch of guys. Cam's the man, and I can go there with no worries about being injured. I can go there, know I'm going to have a horrendous session, but I know I'm not going to get injured, where a lot of the gyms you're going to go to, you're going to have sparring, you're going to have a war, because they're going to try prove they're better than you. And they do that at ASW. They try prove that they're the man, but there's no bad intention at that gym. And I could go to ASW fight week and do a hard session and I'm not going to get injured. I have no worries about that. So I think that's been one of the game changers, is getting up to ASW every once in a while. I mean, I'm not up there as much as I would like to be, but it's such a long drive. But I always feel welcome. That's like my second home when I get up there in with those guys. So yeah, I think they've been a game changer. And just getting in that horrendous grappling just before the fights, it's going into the unknown. I'm wrestling with a guy, and then they turn around and say, "Oh, he was on the junior Olympic squad." I think, bloody hell, do you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's such a great gym, and I advise anybody that's up that way, if you're close enough, I'd get to it.
Now, this is something I wanted to sort of ask you about anyway. I think I've asked you this before, but going anyway. When it comes to sparring for a fight, not just gym sparring, but sparring for a fight, do you think it's important to go to other gyms and get an unknown sparring partner?
Yes, I do. And the reason I do think that is because I know a lot of guys bring fighters in, but you're in your house you're in your comfort zone. So it's not, I know it's a new body and blah, 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 but you ain't going to get that feel. I believe what the best thing to do is to get out to these other gyms. I mean, you can't do it constantly, but at least once or twice before a fight, get out to these other gyms, go into a different territory, because when you go to these venues when you're fighting, I don't care what anybody says when they're in a cage, oh, this is my home, I feel at home. No, you do not, because you're in a random arena in front of random people fighting a random guy. You need to get out to these different gyms, and you need to go and get some sparring in at a different gym where they are going to try thingy, and you're going to be sore after the session because they're going to try to get after you, but that's going to be the fight feel, and that's what you need. You need to feel it a couple of times before you get in there and you get a chance to fight. I mean, before this fight I got up to ASW, I got up to Manchester top team, before I've gone to Team Cowbon and Liverpool. Just jumped in with all these high level guys and try to get these high level rounds, and yeah, you need that, and it shows. Look when I fight. You ever seen me in a fight thinking I look nervous before? No.
Well, obviously you can't kiss and tell, but obviously Nathaniel Wood, can you talk about that experience? Obviously going down there to GB top team and just...
So yeah, I forgot about that. So yeah, I went down and me and Nathaniel Wood did 5-minute rounds together. So, just stuff like that. I'm in enemy... Oh, it's not enemy, but I'm in enemy territory, I'm sparring the boy at that gym. All of his training partners are there watching. I mean, I've just got my 3 other coaches with me, we've got trained for 3 hours down to there and we sparred. So just stuff like that. You just got to put yourself in the sort of firing zone and put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, and it's only going to propel you further.
And like Jack Cartwright at SPG Manchester, again,
I just go and try spar with the best guys. The guys that are killing it at a minute, I'll go out and get with them. To name a few, Mike Grundy, Darren Till, Tom Aspinall I went and sparred with. Jack Cartwright, Lerone Murphy, all these guys, just being out and sparred with these guys, Nathaniel Wood. That's a high level bunch of guys right there.
UFC.
I mean, I've not got the money that some of these guys have, where they're flying off to Thailand and doing camps out there, and I ain't got the time to do that. I've got a kid on the way that I'm putting money away for. I've got my fiance that I don't want to leave. So yeah, I get away when I can, and never say never. I'll go out to Thailand or something like that. But all I'm saying is, 2 people that I thought have done camps in Thailand for me, and I beat both of them. So,
well, but this is kind of the interesting point to lay back to what we were already on about, is having that respect, that mutual understanding, that, like you said with ASW, where the pressure's there, but the respect is there as well, and that kind of intent to make sure you're putting the work in, but you're not trying to compromise each other for the sake of the egos, the bragging rights, and that kind of thing. Yeah. It's definitely an interesting one. And when you say about going for camps abroad, there's an element of, it's interesting seeing the environment, but that coach's honesty, that they know what you're capable of and know what you're doing right and wrong. Yeah. I think that's invaluable. Now, regards of changes to your game with like Danny and Raymond, where have they made the biggest influence, you feel like, from coming to BST? Obviously, it's been a while back now.
Just the whole gluing of the MMA game together. I mean, I think I was a half-decent grappler and I was a half-decent striker before I come to BST, and they just made me realise I need to gel it together. That's been the biggest thing. And the micromanagements of Danny and Ray, JB, Lee, everybody has just been, Giant Lucas, just been incredible. Just always nitpicking my game, When I win fights, it's not so much, you did this well, you did this well, you did this wrong, so we need to fix this. And I've watched your grappling, and this is what we need to work on now. And that's just, they've always just been piecing me together little by little. And it shows, they could show me one little thing and I think, oh yeah, is that how I do it? And then the next thing I'm thinking in my head, fucking hell, I wish I knew that ages ago, because it's completely changing my game. And that's what's so good about BST, Ray, Danny, and all these guys, is they're good at nitpicking and they're good at letting me micromanage my game. So Danny will say to me, well, this is more, Danny will say it, but this is more for JB. I'll come with JB on the pads and he'll say, what do you want to work? And I'll say, I want to work this, this, this. What do you want me to work? He'll say this, this, this. And that's how it will gel the pads. He could tell me a combination. I'll say to him, right, let's not do the end bit. Let's do this instead. And he doesn't, a lot of fighters, coaches might be like, what a fucking wanker, he's telling me what to do. Whereas JB's like, yeah, okay. And he knows what I'm on about. I'm not saying it because it's easy. I'm not saying, instead of the kick at the end, I want to do a knee. I'm not saying that because the kick's knackering. I can't be asked doing it. I'm saying it because the knee will fit in better with the MMA or vice versa.
Yeah,
You catch my drift, yeah.
That's definitely important. Obviously with Adam as well. I mean, where it's interesting with Adam is you started working together. Was it after the Common Day fight?
Yeah, it was. So it was after the Cage Warriors debut, and I was in Adam's gym just training myself, and he just come up to me and he said, I hardly knew him at this point, and he just come up to me and said, "Who does your strength and conditioning?" I said, "Do it myself." And he just said, "Oh, can I do your next camp?" Just like that, casual. And I said, "Yeah, fuck it, why not?" I thought, what have I got to lose? Look at him, he's in good shape. He said to me, he'll do my camp for me, and then that was it. Me and him just gelled. Now we're really good mates, and I train with him 5 times a week, and I mean, you can see the fitness I am when I'm in there. You can see the shape difference of me progressively along each fight. It's just been incredible.
So when it comes to training with Adam, obviously you've been with him from each camp in Cage Warriors, the progression's there, the level of the training is getting more and more disgusting. When you're in the camp, you seem to embrace that grind very well.
I do.
But where it seems to keep on excelling the standards and so on and so forth, how do you even like face training that morning?
Do you know what? I just really do think, especially, we don't pick up the hard sprints till 6 weeks out from a fight. And I just think to myself, this is going to be 6 weeks of hell, horrendous. I'm going to turn up, hate training. Some days I'm going to be knackered and I can't even do it. And I just think it's only 6 weeks. Do it for 6 weeks, diet well, it's longer diet, but like a really strict diet for 6 weeks, horrendous training for 6 weeks, and it's only 6 weeks. And when it's done, look at me now. I had the fight, I did all the hard training. Look how I finished the fight. Look at the shape I was in. Wow, do you know what I mean? That's just what I think. I think just do it now. Just get it out of the way. He says, all right, 20 calorie bike sprint now. It's going to be horrendous, but I'm like, yep, okay. And I'll just never, even if I do the first 10 calories at amazing speed, and the last 10 are just horrendous, I'll just keep chipping away because I'll just think in my head, right, this is a fight, I'm tired, I'm knackered, I can't switch off, I can't stop, just keep this pace going. And that's what's horrendous about me in a fight is I will never ever stop. I'll just continually keep chipping away, and I'm going to fade you.
I think that's the interesting part with Adam's training, where it's the attitude, it's very fight orientated. Like you see with the video I did today with the squeezing, with the medicine ball, things like that. And the reason I wanted to go on this topic specifically is where the training has changed throughout the fights. Is there something you've noticed he's been prioritising more this last camp or anything in particular?
And again, same like what I do with JB, I do the same with Adam. I mean, he was wanting us to get out to the track, and I said to him, I don't want to do track sprints this camp. And he said, why? And I said, because when I do the track sprints, no matter how headstrong you are, you will switch off, and even if it's 5%, because you can't tell me how fast I'm going when I'm over that side of the track. And yeah, you can say, but you can just time your first sprint. How you know I'm busting a nut in the first sprint? I might do the first sprint at 80%. You'll never know. You just think to yourself, he's keeping a good time. So I said to him, no, I don't want to do the track sprints. I want to do them on the treadmill. He said, okay. I said, because on the treadmill, if I slow down, I will come off the treadmill. You will see it. I cannot slow down on the treadmill. And sort of the next session I seen him, he said, you know what, I was thinking about what you said and it makes perfect sense. Like, it's going to be the best way is going to be doing the treadmill. I mean, look, now summer's coming and I mean, I did all my sprints for this fight all on the treadmill, but it's because it was cold outside. I mean, now summer's coming in, I have a horrendous hill, which you've been and done with me before. And
Try to do the hill.
And it's horrendous.
It's
you did
flat.
So I'm going to get back on that. Now the summer's coming back in, and again, that's because they're going to be horrendous sprints, but I'm going to enjoy them. You're going to top off, shorts rolled up high, socks pulled down to the ankles, ready to run up this hill. So I'm going to enjoy that, but I'm still going to keep in them treadmill sprints, and I'm going to try push as hard as I can on those sprints.
One thing you said there, I think, is very underappreciated is training the mindset, because they almost treat it like a separate thing. You're doing your fitness, you're doing your specifics, doing technical and so on and so forth, but the attitude when you're in there, that composure, that attitude of, I need to be switched on, I need to be pushing the pace, I need to have that effort, because everyone's guilty of it. When you're a bit knackered in a round, you're like, I can get my breath back, I can chill, I can cover my guard, breathe a little bit. But no, that attitude of, I'm still going to push through, I need to get this next level up. And I think part of the training, consistently being in that mindset of, I can't switch off, I've got to be awake, I've got to be alert, I think that's invaluable. And with Adam as well, someone who, on a personal level, gets it. he's not just a random coach who's just going to just beast you for no reason. Again, he's got purpose of what he's doing. He's trying to build you, trying to help you grow. And again, even outside of camp, like things like the bike ride the other day, and just, I don't know, the stuff outside of camp, ticking on, like, you basically start strength as soon as you finish the fight.
Yeah, and I think what's good with Adam as well is he's not one of these guys that just write the session, you get there, that's your session. I mean, he'll write a session, you'll get there, and he'll look at you and think, yeah, he looks fatigued, and he'll put you on something, test you, and he'll say, right, I was going to do that with you today, but we're going to do this instead. I think he's good at that. He's good at looking at the fighter and judging off how they are. If they look fresh, okay, we're going to do this horrendous session. Okay, you look really good today. I thought you were going to be tired, so don't worry about that. We're going to do this instead. And he's really good for that. He's good at listening. And again, you know me, he knows me. Anybody that knows me knows I'm never going to do something because I can't be asked doing it. If you say to me, right, you got to do 50 sprints today, and I say I'm knackered, I can only do about 30. You know that's not me being lazy, or that's not me being a shitbag. I'm fucked. And that 30 is going to be hard.
Little shape bag.
Yeah, we shape bag.
That's the Corby coming out. But that's the kind of integrity you have to have with yourself, because there's a lot of people say it's a discipline that they struggle with motivating themselves. Again, everything else. That's why coaching is, a little bit more. You'd say, you do that, you do this, but you having that discipline with yourself. Like, what was your strength and conditioning like before Adam? What sort of stuff were you doing in general?
I'd probably do the same thing 3 times. I mean, I'd just put a 10 kilo on a barbell on each side, and I'd just clean and press, row, blah, blah, blah. Just get in and do a workout. That's all it would do. Just get in and do an hour workout. And I just class that as strength and conditioning, and I was probably never doing any decent things for my body,
A couple of treadmill sprints and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But with this whole conversation, we're touching on so many different bases, but again, who you are, where your career is going to go, there's so much to it. But again, who you are outside of camp is something people don't appreciate enough. And you ain't going to say it, I'm going to say it for you. You do so much for other people. Like little things like checking in on people, looking out for people, things like that. And again, you said it before you came into the belt doesn't define you. Again, it's something that's just a milestone to be appreciated, to be, embraced. But again, it's not all you are.
The belt's just a checkpoint. I'm at that checkpoint. Now it's time to move on from it. But it was good when I got it, and it's going to be good. It's going to be good for my career forever. I won the Cage Warriors World title. How many people do you know that can say that? Do you know what I mean? Well, you know too.
Danny, don't stop saying it.
Yeah. But, that's something fighters are going to dream of and never come close to doing. And I actually dreamt of it and made it come to fruition. And it's just, I always said it, I always knew I was destined for more. So when I was fighting these Charrier Suses, all these guys that were like killers, I always said I'm going to win. And they'd say, why? I said, because I'm just destined for more.
You see it a lot early on, especially like Rashid has and Ashab Yusuf and things like that. But where you see your reaction, I think that's where you see the biggest maturity. With Chapa, it was you get the win, you're like, you can't even believe the moment's there. You obviously scoring the rounds, you sort of knew where you were at. That reaction is just so much like, wow, this is coming to life. And but the last one with Hendin, it was such a homecoming kind of experience that this isn't just a fight, isn't just a win, isn't just the next thing to UFC. It was that moment of just, now you know. This is that flow state that
if you didn't know, now you know.
Literally, embracing the crowd, because the conversation, the same points, decisions, they're the popular ones, the Irish ones, but you see you O2 sold out, people cheering for you, the embrace of it all, saving the whole moment up. And then when you're there, it's just flow state, you get the submission. And like the reaction we were saying the other day, where it wasn't that I want to fight, it was I want a grappling match kind of energy of, I've done it. All right, now where's my gold medal? Go home, getting Nando's on the way back, and that's that done.
Yeah. I mean, even with the walkout, I was present in the moment the whole time, and looking up at all them people cheering, and I thought, if I lose now, I'm never going to get this again, so let's just take it now. But at the same time, I was looking and thinking, but when I win, this is going to be tenfold, and this is going to seem small compared to what I'm going to do in my career. And I just remember getting in there, and even in the walkout, just thinking, I'm the fucking man. Just looking out there, and you think, come on, like you've earned this. All that hard work, you fucking earned it. And I remember thinking, this is the best moment of my life, when I was standing in front of all them people and they were going crazy. And then I won the fight by submission, jumped on the fence, and then I remember thinking, nah, this is the best moment of my life. And Everybody says to me, wait till your baby's born and you're holding that little baby boy in your hand, and then you'll say to yourself, no, this is the best moment of my life. And yeah, I can't wait for it.
That'll be incredible.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you. Say the roles were reversed, Hendon submits you, but you're offered the UFC. Would you take the UFC there and then, or would you get the rematch?
I would have went for the rematch. And that is, unless it was the rematch was in the UFC with Hendon. Yeah, if Hendon submitted me there, I mean, I wouldn't have got offered the UFC, but let's just say theoretically I did. I'd have had to come back and solidified it. I'd have had to come back, because then I would have left it with too many question marks, you know. People would have said, oh, maybe Hughes beat you, maybe Chapa beat you, Hughes, Hendon beat you, blah, blah, blah.
Say if it was like the Sam Creasy, Luke Shank situation where Sam's still the champion and Luke won the last one, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you'd have to rewrite it. You'd have to stake your claim, and you'd have to really get out there and put a finish on it. But fortunately for me,
exactly,
I was the one with my hand raised at the end.
And the reason I'm asking that sort of thing, because where it comes to UFC being the main goal, but that's you as a pure fighter, that's someone as principle of martial artist. I want to re-earn that point, that spot.
Yeah.
That if for whatever reason there was a reason why these kind of blemishes.
That was why I was so wanting the Hughes fight. You know, I said it straight away when I won the belt. I said, look, we all know who's next in line, and I believe it should be Hughes. I don't think Chapa should get the rematch instantly. I think Hughes should get it, because I wanted that fight so bad, and then it's been a whole year, and I was finally like, I'm gonna, do you know what I mean? I'm gonna really put my stamp on this fight, and I really do believe that I was gonna knock Paul Hughes out, and I was thinking, I'm gonna knock this guy out. I'm gonna sign for the UFC, and I'm gonna do all these things, and then he pulled out, and then it just makes you think like, shit, like fuck, all this time, you know, it was 2 years in the making, and you got injured a week before. What a shit time to get injured. Do you know what I mean? Like we've said, the only thing that could have made last Friday better would have been if it was Hughes that I did that to, not Hendon. But apart from that, it was like a movie.
It seemed like that proper flow state and everything going on, and then embracing it, and then you come home on pictures and everything else in the chat. I'll tell you what was really nice to see when you came in the gym on the Monday. The just absolute roar of applause from everyone.
Yeah.
And just taking that in, because I think this is something that, because you've had so many back-to-back fights, each individual fight is a huge achievement.
Yeah.
Just to savour that for a moment, like, you know what?
And even that, I'm a humble guy. Did you see my face? I didn't know what everyone was clapping
Yeah,
at.
like,
So I was talking to the Edwards, and I thought, they're clapping for me. Do you know what I mean? I actually thought, oh shit, I thought it was, you know, someone got a stripe on their belt. Everyone was clapping. So I was like, oh, what's that? Then I realised, oh shit, they're all clapping for me. And I'm like, hey, I'm the fucking boy. It's just fucking good. It's just bang on. And again, I'm opening the door for everybody in the gym. It's as simple as that. Think when Conor McGregor got to the UFC, how many guys got to the UFC from his gym? How many of them are still in the UFC from his gym? None, except from him. He was the only one. But he opened the door for them and give these guys opportunities that they would have never have got if it was just down to what they've done in their career. And that's how I see it. I see myself opening the door for all the other guys in the gym, and letting them get a bit of the spotlight, you know. I wouldn't be where I am without them guys. They're the ones that help me. They're the ones that spar with me every day. They're the ones that when I'm on a tear on one day, they're the ones that has to be the almost sort of punch bag for the day, you know. So they deserve to have the eyes on them.
But again, this is something that's really nice to appreciate, because if you think about who's from this gym and go train to this gym, oh, this guy started with them and now we joined that gym, now he's in the UFC. Those anecdotal things could be the difference between people joining a gym, starting MMA and making these changes. Like, I couldn't even begin to count the amount of people from Corby who've started MMA because of you.
Yeah.
Things like that. And you know what MMA's done for you, and the amount of people who you're changing, like, their lives just indirectly and realising it.
Yeah.
I think having that kind of role model from, you know, the size of the town and everything else, and the camaraderie, like, obviously you've watched the fight back 1,000 times, but seeing the crowd and seeing what the parties are, and things like that, and that mutual, we're all cheering for our boy, our man, and that sort of thing is just wonderful to see.
Yeah.
Now, just a bit of fun outside of the usual MMA talk. When it comes to just you in general, like, what sort of things do you want to do outside of training? Like, just unwind, things that aren't the usual, just pure training.
Yeah. Yeah, as mad as it is, nothing. I walk the dogs,
Canelo and
come
Charlie.
back,
Okay.
either put the telly on fighting, or Arthur's watching the telly and I pick the iPad up, watch the iPad. It's as simple as that. That it's just either eat, go out, eat some nice food, or watch fighting. It's as simple as that. I mean, I'm not one of these guys that has to watch an instructional, and learn that way. I can. You know, people don't get to see it, but if you said to me, right, I want you to study him, and then in a week's time come in and mimic him for me, I could do it perfectly. I could do it bang on, and people laugh about how good I can do it. Like, I'll pretend to be Tom Mann shadowboxing, or I'll pretend to be you shadowboxing, and I've not had to study. I can just watch the way you move, and I can straight away imitate it. And so I just watch the guys that are doing the best at the minute, and I just imitate them. It's as simple as that. And what I like, I take. What I don't like, I get rid of. But what do I do other than fighting? Nothing.
It's interesting you say it in that way as well, because Dan Hardy talks about that when he retired. That when he does his analysis, one thing he'll do is he'll basically shadow out the fighters who he's going to analyze, and that level of understanding and reactions and things like that. Like, when you're preparing for fights, are you basically pretending to be your opponent when it comes to things like that? Like, you're kind of seeing what they're doing.
Nah, I've always had a thing where I watch what an opponent's good at, and I focus on that. A lot of guys watch too much on what they're not so good at. Whereas when you go to the gym after a fight, what do you work on? The things that didn't go wrong. The things that went wrong you work on, so you fix those. So if every time you jab, you drop your left hand, I'm not going to study that. I'm like, oh, he drops his left hand, because you're going to be in the gym, and if you've got good coaches and you're good at self-analysis, you're going to be jabbing and bringing your hand straight back to your head. So that's gone for me now. I study the things you're good at doing. So with Hendin, he low kicks, he calf kicks quite a lot. He will get you to the fence, he'll get his hips close, and he'll throw you. So straight away, in my head, right, I'm going to block low kicks. I'm going to chop his low kick back. When we get to the fence, I'm going to frame on the hips. And that's just how I do it. I had certain things for Hughes as well. I had a very, very particular game plan for Hughes. And like I said, he was going to get knocked out.
Out of all your fights in your career, who surprised you the most regards of what you expect? Because obviously you're saying about they're good at this, they're strong there, they're known for this. Who's been the biggest surprise?
Probably be the Luke Ward fight, the fight I lost at pro. I mean, I was 21 years old. He was 26 at the time. It's a really big difference. He was 5-2. I was 2-0. Just took it, and the coach just told me not to take it. He said, "Look, it's just too much too soon." I'd just come off of a fight, just jumped in, and I mean, come on, be real now. If me and that guy fought now, it wouldn't even be close. It'd be a mismatch. But I needed that lesson to propel me to where I am. So probably the Luke Ward, because I remember going in there and I was just so concerned about how I looked. I didn't care about technique-wise. I didn't care about how I was going to look in there. I just was doing weights in the gym. I was dieting. I looked like a bodybuilder. I was silly shredded. When people see a picture of now, I'm in unreal shape. And I remember sort of the fight was about what happened in 5 minutes. I wasn't even concerned about the fight. I was in the mirror tensing, thinking, yeah, I'm fucking ripped up, fixing my hair. Just a fucking idiot. I'm fucking glad I lost that fight. But that's the one that shocked me the most, because I remember just thinking, fuck, like, this guy's training for a fight, and I've trained to look good. That's just what I thought. And that's the mistake I learned. And look, I'm 7-fight win streak since then. That was back in 2018, 2019. I haven't lost since, because that was the kick up the arse I needed to be like, no, fuck that, because now I don't care. I'd go when they're chubby, I don't care. Obviously I don't, because I train so hard, I'm not going to be chubby. But if I had a belly, I wouldn't care. If I was like Diego Sanchez standing against the fence, I'd still be fucking people up.
But this is something with that fight was really interesting, that was your first title fight at pro. Again, 66, shredded, whatever else, and just getting grapple fucked the whole fight. But then you were saying doing damage from the bottom, things like that. But you being held down is kind of what your trademark weakness would have been.
Yeah.
And that just isn't happening anymore.
Now it's horrendous to hold me down. Like, I was rolling yesterday with Hassan, and I said, "Why are you so tired?" And he said, "Oh, it's just because I'm so much on you, and guys try to real bust a nut to get out, and I'll just bust a nut with you, and I'll just always come out the other end on top." And that's what I said to him. "What's wrong with you? What's wrong with your fitness? You had a fight the other week. Why are you so tired already?" And Yeah, but if that was me scrambling on the bottom, you wouldn't held on to me, and I'd have ended up on top, and I would not have been gassing. And yeah, people can say, "Oh, Luke would put out the blueprint." Well, clearly not, because Hendon's his training partner, and I'm pretty sure Hendon probably beats him up. And you've seen what happened when we were in there. And not at one stage was he in any bit of bother.
But this is where the development comes from. This is where the maturity and the mindset changes.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like you said, with your hand being broken, you're reviewing things, you're changing your attitude, changing your focus. And that's where you're really starting to make this growth. And obviously, you're not going to say where you're focusing on now for certain improvements and things like that. But what's exciting is there's going to be something else, then something else, and something else. And these levels are going to keep going up and keep going up. And just can't wait to see it, really. And with your career in MMA, the absolute sky's the limit, really.
It really is. I mean, I see guys that are superstars, and I think I've got the potential to be much more than you. I've got the potential to go out there and sort of be the McGregor status. I'm telling you, like I love a GSP. I've got the potential to go out there and be like the GSP. I mean, I said it to Dan Hardy after the fight. It was funny because I said, look, told you, I went out and did it. I said, he's a good guy, and I knew what I was going to do. And I said, look, in a world full of Conor McGregors, be a GSP. And he turned around to me and said, in a world full of Instagram fighters, be a Jordan Vucenic. And I said, yes, I like that.
That's a bit good, isn't it?
It's a good one.
So
well done, Dan Hardy. That was a good one.
That's a bit good. As to say, like Dan Hardy is the man. He's kind of like the role model for this kind of brand anyway. But yeah, he's the boy. And exactly that sort of thing, because social media becomes so much more prevalent, and it's always that FOMO of, everyone's doing this, everyone's doing that. And even with that, though, at the level you're at now and where you're going to keep going, is there temptation to keep changing the wheel, keep changing what you're doing, and keep...
We're just trying to improve every aspect, even the social media aspect, but I'm never going to be fake, like what some of these are. I'm never going to put on a persona and do these crazy Instagram stories when that's not you. I'm not going to be that guy. I mean, I feel so awkward doing certain things. In the moment, I can do it. Like, UFC Fight Pass said, can you take this? And can you just say thank you? And I just took it and said, oh, thanks for tuning into my fight. But if you give me your phone now and said, do a video message, I'd be like, But if you just get me talking and I can play up for the camera a little bit, but
Go on.
I don't think it's playing up for the camera. I can be myself on the camera, and then it's just going to be that thing. If they like it, they like it, and if they don't, they don't. Like this here is me and you talking, so it's not as if I can just start busting out the banter. But I know when I'm going to be in UFC and I've got the UFC fight embedded following me, people are going to be like, he's fucking sick, he is, because I'll just be myself and they're following me, because you can forget they're following, whereas in this, do you know what I mean? I'm getting interrogated. You can't be yourself. Interrogated. I've got that thing dropping on my head the whole time.
Assess who those wins. Get taken out. Go.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but the thing with UFC embedded, if they come to BST, you're getting cancelled before you get a fight.
Oh shit, I know. Yeah, fucking hell. When they start seeing the shenanigans that go on in there, they'll just have to leave straight away.
Oh my god, that's the thing. Like when we have Modestus in the UFC as well, you got to worry about that. The conversations, like you get lad ban, you get things like that, but there's lines you got to draw somewhere.
Oh fucking hell, yeah. Well, them lines have been scrubbed out and replaced in BST, ain't they?
As I say, it's all good fun for everyone watching. Don't worry, it's not that bad. Don't tell anyone. It's all good. But no, thank you so much for your time today, my friend. There's so much to say, so much to go over. But regards of sponsors to thank, things in your own life, anyone you want to say particular thank you to?
Just a big massive thank you to all my sponsors. I've had so many come on board, like before the world title fight, after, and they're always ever growing. And I'm not the best at promoting the guys on social media, but a lot of the time with the sponsors, it's to help me and the genuine people that have come on board. They're not there sort of for their own gain. They get a small gain from it, but the majority of the thing is to help me. And I couldn't do everything I do without them. I've got people sponsoring me a car. I've got people giving me money each month to sponsor me, people sponsoring the fights, people buying me gear, and I really couldn't do it without all the sponsors. And I always say I need to get better on my social media promoting yous, but just know that it never ever goes amiss. Like whether it's £1 or £1,000, it's genuinely, truly appreciated, and I really do believe that's why I always have stuff coming in, because I'm never taking any of it for granted. I'm never saying fuck off, you ain't giving me that. And yeah, just I couldn't. even if you think you don't play a big part being one of my sponsors, you really do, because I couldn't do what I do without you, and it's as simple as that. And when new sponsors come on, I'm not a guy that's going to use that money to be flash. I am going to put that in, whether that be paying a coach up front for all the training, whether that be, I had a sponsor just before my fight paid me X amount of money, and I didn't take one penny from that. I distributed it to every coach. I said, there's that for you, you. And that's what I like. I like being able to give back. And when you see fighters promote charity work, and I don't know if they're doing it or if it's for tax, but I genuinely know when I'm at a point when I'm got so much money coming in, I genuinely will help people. And I'm not just saying that, I genuinely will help people. And even when people think that I'm a twat for helping the people I'm helping, as long as I think that what I'm doing's the right thing, I'll be doing it. It's as simple as that.
Well, that's it, especially like giving Danny a car, for example. And again, there's things, this is where the true modesty is, where you wouldn't say the specifics of these things. And seeing those like generous acts, obviously I'm not going to, air out your business, but there's a lot of things where you've done above and beyond and not made a fuss about that. And that's where the true sort of nuance is with who you are.
Well, yeah, like Danny said that to me, can I put a post up? I said, if you want, I weren't gonna put anything, but if you want to put up, and all that is just for the people that didn't know, when I got sponsored my new car, I had an Audi, and it's not a shit Audi, it's a nice Audi, I could have got a good amount of money for it if I sold it, but I give my coach it because he had a pretty bad car at the minute. He always told me he really liked the car, always told me when I was getting rid of it he would have loved to have bought it, so we'll just give him the car because I'm not missing anything from it,
And that's the reality of it, though, because when someone like Danny, so Danny is a fantastic coach anyway, but as a person, as a friend, he is someone, there's an expression to give you the last roller, he's one of these who would put himself in such a bad situation purely to help other people out. And it definitely goes underappreciated because, again, like when you're a genuine person like that, your priority isn't the recognition, it's not the repayment, it's helping that person who needed that support.
Yeah.
And to be able to repay that in any way, shape or form is definitely, true test of character. And again, with the sponsors, a lot of them have been on board from early.
Yeah.
Like that sort of thing, it's just being able to pay that back and be able to have that platform and say, look, it was worth investing in me. It must be such a rewarding feeling.
Yeah. And the ones that believed in me before I was anything, really. I mean, all they had was the word of this young boy who was saying, this is what I'm going to be. They didn't know what I was going to go on to do and what I'm still going to go on to do. I mean, people believe it more now. I could probably tell you I'm going to be an astronaut now, and people are like, probably is going to be because he's done everything else he said.
Sounds like the moon. He always talks about it.
Yeah.
Well, there's so much in that. But no, thank you for your time, my friend.
No, thank you, mate.
Appreciate it.
Right, mate.